You wanted me to go live, so I'm live. Where are you? If no one comes into this live, I'm never doing one again. And this can be the evidence once and for all. Don't ask me again if no one comes in to do a live, because it's annoying. Why don't you do a live? Because none of you ever come in. Welcome back to Movies TV Mad. You can follow me on Twitter at Movies TV Mad. Smash the like button. If you love me, subscribe if you're new. Please have your say. Welcome back to Movies TV Mad. And today we're talking the future of entertainment, because someone is going to be bought by Apple. It's either going to be Disney or Warner Brothers Discovery. James the Crap, do more lives. Not if nobody comes in, James. I can't be doing lives for 3 or 4 people. It's as simple as that. I get more views when I do pre-recorded videos. So if we get lots of people coming into lives, then I'll do loads of lives. But the last live I did, no one came in. And I live in Cyprus. I can only do lives when it's, when it's daylight and when it's, convenient for me. I can't do it when it's convenient for you. So you've got to be in. If you want me to do lives, you have to watch my lives. I'm not trying to be controversial. I'm not trying to be rude. But at the end of the day, I ain't going to sit here doing lives when no one's coming in. So let's see what happens. The only reason I'm doing a live now is so I don't have to spend 9 hours waiting for an upload, because I've got things to do today. But I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to be talking to you all because I've got something to say. Scott Edwards from America. How you doing, Scully? I love you, man. How's it going? Love your passion. What's up? I'm doing okay. So today I want to talk about Apple, because Apple are going to buy Disney or Warner Brothers Discovery. I'm pretty confident I know who it's going to be. Scott Edwards, you've been watching Ahsoka. Yes. What do you think of it, Scott? I'm not overly impressed. I found it slow and boring. I think they're purposely dragging their heels. It will probably get better in the final 2 or 3 episodes. But yeah, I'm not a fan of adapting live animated Star Wars to live action. I think it's lazy. I think Ashley Eccleston is Ahsoka, and I don't think anyone else can play her. I think Ahsoka, let me say that again. I think Rosario Dawson is a great actor. I love Rosario. She's great with the fans. She's talented, but she's not Ahsoka. Ashley Eccleston is. It's as simple as that. It's that voice. When you hear Ashley's voice, that is Ahsoka. You cannot be translating animated to live action. Star Wars needs what Snyder pitched. New characters, new planets, new stories, while you're still using the Jedi, the sabers, and all the stuff that we love about Star Wars. This was the mistake Disney made from the very beginning, trying to milk the Skywalker saga instead of moving away from it. Scott Edwards, I think it's been pretty good. Scott Edwards, the Mandoverse has been solid overall. Excited for the movie. Only Star Wars I'm really invested in. Well, The Mandalorian Season 3 wasn't too great, was it? So, what I really want to talk about today is the future of entertainment and Apple. Because Warner Brothers and Disney bankrupted themselves, believing that streaming was the future. They watched Netflix with great envy. We're not only going to take what you're doing Netflix, we're going to destroy you, and we're going to replace cinema with streaming. And they got it wrong. They got it absolutely wrong, because they never thought about this. Netflix was another service as well as cinema. It wasn't going to replace cinema. How can you make the same type of money you can do on theatrical with streaming? It's not possible. You've got to have the subs, and even the subs can't bring you the money that a big cinematic release can do. The only way streaming could make the money that theatrical has done for them throughout the years is pay-per-view. Now, the problem with pay-per-view, people would have been against it. People would have been saying, well, why are you taking films from cinema and making them pay-per-view? And the other thing is, people love cinema. They love the theatrical experience. So what's happened is Disney and Warner Brothers, amongst other things, have destroyed their companies, spending millions upon millions on streaming, and it hasn't worked. because theatrical, director-driven movies are the future. And isn't it ironic that Netflix and Apple streamers are getting in the business of cinema while Disney and WB tried to get in the business of streaming? The irony isn't lost on me. James Crap, Sam Dejan Reviews is a toxic YouTube channel. He posts your videos dancing in your underwear, and he said Sky Spam sells Zack Snyder to Netflix. Yes, in the early days, I used to do Love Island videos, and I used to dance in my underwear. Sam Dejan Reviews is angry with me because I don't agree with him, because he wants cartoonish comic book stuff. Sam Dejan Reviews can do what he wants. I'm proud of everything I've done on this channel, including dancing in my underwear and exciting the ladies. And I still do that type of thing over on Instagram. So I don't really care. I am who I am. I'm proud. I'm out. I'm an alpha male. So Sam Dejan Reviews, a man who's hiding his identity, he can keep on doing what he wants about me. He's making me, basically, I'm making him angry, which is good. So the more he does that, I win. The more angry I make him, the more I win. So keep on posting, keep on putting me out there. It's great. I hope I get, please, when you do that, Sam, please tell them where to find me, because that just helps me. Thank you, Sam. I appreciate the support. Mwah. I win. You lose. Brilliant, isn't it? Anyway, Scott Edwards, would you say Mando season 3 is still okay? No. They baited and switched Mando. They set up something very exciting with the dark saber, and I thought the idea was that he and the woman, forgot her name now, right? The red-haired one, right? They were going to fight. It was going to go all Game of Thrones, and I thought they were going to fight for the dark saber because she looked really pissed off when he got it. But they didn't do that. He just bent his beta male knee and said, here you are, you deserve it because you're a woman. Crap. This is what Disney are doing with their extremism and propaganda. It's crap. And this is another reason Disney are going bankrupt. Empires are destroyed from within. Disney had it all. IPs, love for their studio, the Disney name. They bought Star Wars, they bought Lucasfilm, they bought Marvel. It was all going great. Then they were triggered by Trump, and for the past 7 years, they've done everything in their power to destroy what they built. Isn't it interesting? Since Robert Downey Jr. left Marvel, it's got downhill. That's because Rob was the one making all the good decisions. If they made bad decisions, he challenged them on it. So it's no accident since Robert Downey Jr. has left Marvel, it's gone downhill. Think about that for a minute. Scott Edwards, when can we discuss Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom spoilers? Christmas or when we hear the movie's been shelved? Well, either when we've seen the movie, we can discuss the spoilers, not before. Or when obviously when it's shelved, I'll do a full spoiler review and then we can discuss it, Scott. Scott Edwards, Bo-Katan is a good character, though. They ruined her. They ruin all minorities and women because they write them on a different level than they would write a man. When they write a minority or a woman, they don't give them any characterizations. All they care about is that they're seen. They don't get the same interesting characterizations and the storylines as the straight white male has over the years. That's not good representation. That's not good inclusion. This is what Chibnall did with the first female doctor, Jodie Whittaker. She could have been great. You could have given her a personality. You didn't. You gave her nothing. And you brought in a really good actor, probably not the right actor, right female. There were better ones, but I'm glad you didn't sacrifice another female actor's career for that shit. They do this all the time. They put minorities and women there. They don't challenge them. They don't earn the right to do anything, right? Mexicans can't be criminals. You can't kill the gays. You cannot run an industry on those parameters. Scott Edwards, I haven't even seen Blue Beetle yet. I have seen Blue Beetle once. Once was enough. They destroy an iconic Blue Beetle character. They decided the white version, I forgot his name now, they pretty much give his name to a Latino female. They stereotype the Latino community. It's racist, and it's very racist to white people as well. More extremism, more propaganda. The family's boring. They waste the whole time. This whole family thing, this Shazam family, this Blue Beetle family thing, it is boring. I don't want to go to the cinema because you're marketing inclusion. Do the inclusion, do it well, but don't market it. No one's going. More gay men went to see Top Gun Maverick than they did Bros, a gay romantic comedy. Why? Because gay people for 4 bloody decades have been watching straight people's stories. I don't even think gay people are that invested in gay stories. All this, people wanting to see themselves on the screen, is bullshit. Bullshit. And they don't even do it properly when they're representing people. Scott Edwards, I want to see Aquaman 2 because I'm invested in the sequel. Love the first one. I love the first one. I don't care what anyone says, Scotty. I love it. It's a brilliant movie, comic book accurate. Even Amber Heard works. I mean, and she can barely, act to save her life. But James Wan's a genius. I mean, I don't think that Amber Heard, I think Walter Hamada was right when he wanted to get rid of her because of lack of chemistry. I don't think her and Momoa have got great chemistry, but Wan makes it work. And personally, I didn't, Amber Heard did what she did, but I still would have watched that movie. I have watched that movie, right? But I would have gone to see it. I would never have boycotted it because of her. I want to see Aquaman 2. Right, Scott Edwards. So you think we're only for sure getting Superman Legacy, right? Nothing is set in stone, Scott. There's a lot of inconsistencies from the inactive DC studios. Now, James Gunn is supposed to be in pre-production. They're making costumes, they're casting. So you would imagine that movie is definitely happening. But who knows? Things can change very quickly. In my opinion, a DC cinematic universe shouldn't happen. It's too little, too late. It's not what people want. People don't want 6 to 20, comic book movies from Marvel and DC put together out every year. Those days have gone. Year of the cinematic universe and the IP, and as Martin Scorsese puts it, the amusement park rides are over. People want to see director-driven content. And actually, Snyder was a bit of a revolutionary where he insisted in his vision. And that's the future people want. Director-driven content. And this is why we're going to talk about Apple very shortly. James Gunn is going to be the downfall of DC. He's running Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. He's ruining Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. Well, look, I do have a pretty good idea what he's doing to that film. And it's all to connect to his universe. He didn't have to do that. He could have just started again. But I don't think that's his decision. I think it's Zaslav and Safran who don't want to continue, who do want to continue the DCEU of some sorts and keep what they reckon works and get rid of what doesn't work. And clearly they hate Henry Cavill because he's British. So they binned Cavill and they brought in someone who looks exactly like him because he's American. Scott Edwards, are you interested to see how the final cut of Lost Kingdom compares to the test screening you saw? Absolutely. I want to see the film. But I'm hearing that film will be shelved. Let's see if my sources are right or wrong. But one thing's for sure. The odds are that film's not going to make money. And if they do shelve it, it's a reaction from Shazam! Fury of the Gods, The Flash and Blue Beetle tanking. They should never have released any of these films, and Gunn should have started again. On my suggestion, bring in Zack Snyder for a Justice League 2 to close the curtain on the DCEU. That would have been even better. But oh no, they hate Snyder. They wouldn't have any Snyder cut footage in the DC documentary they recently did. They put Justice League footage. This is where we are. It's pretty much secretly the same people running things as were before. Bat Super. Hello, Bat Super. I'm losing faith in the DCU more by the day. I'm so afraid Gunn will mess up Superman. I hope Legacy doesn't happen. Well, Bat Super, I spoke about this yesterday. James Gunn doesn't like Superman. He's not a Superman fan. He's an auteur. When you're in James Gunn's position, you can choose what you do normally. And he chose Suicide Squad. He wanted to do Waller. He did Peacemaker. He was always going to do Creature Commandos and New Authority. That's what he was going to do in his little corner. He's a writer-director, not a CEO, as we can see from the dumb decisions he's making. I would have been quite okay for him to have his corner, for Matt Reeves to have his corner, and for Todd Phillips to have his corner, and for other auteurs to come in and have their own corners, including Zack Snyder. That's the future of film, whether it be comic book movies or other types of movies, director-driven content. People are hungry for it. People are done with cinematic universes and IPs. You're going to see when Killers of the Flower Moon is out, people are going to be raving about Scorsese again, right? This is what people want. They're done with cinematic universes. Look at the MCU. I mean, they haven't helped themselves, but people are done. It had its time. It's over. Scott Edwards, was the final cut of The Flash like the test screening you saw? What differences? No, it was nothing like that at all. The version of The Flash I saw was a much more coherent film. And yes, I did see the ending with Ben Affleck. And so that was much better than putting fucking George Clooney in. Look, it was a much different film. And I don't blame Andy Muschietti. Muschietti got his notes and he had to do what he was told. First, he got his notes from Hamada, then he got his notes from Gunn. And to keep his mouth shut, they've given him Brave and the Bold. Whether he ever gets to make that film is very interesting. They've attached a director to a film that doesn't have a script, doesn't have a cast. Isn't that rather suspicious to you? James, do you think there will be a campaign for Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom director's cut? Listen, whatever campaign they have, it's like the Batgirl campaign. It fell flat on its face. The reason that Snyder's campaign had so much going for it is because people know Snyder's vision. And we'd already seen his movies. And we wanted to see the continuation and the conclusion. There was logic for fighting for Snyder. And it wasn't just the Snyderverse stands fighting that campaign. Otherwise, it wouldn't have gained so much traction. Other people did it as well, but they didn't want to come out and meet it. So there may be a campaign, but it won't have much traction, Scott. Scott Edwards, so Keaton wasn't in the ending of the test screening, or Affleck was in the credit scene. Right, no, you're getting confused. Michael Keaton, Sasha Calle were all in the ending, as well as Ben Affleck in a reversal of the BVS scene when he's asking Barry to come and find him. And that's where the sequel would have begun from. That would have been Barry's mission in the sequel, to go and find Batfleck. So they were all in. You know, by taking Calle out of the ending, by taking Keaton out of the ending, you kind of ask, why were they there? Because it doesn't make sense. The whole point of killing them is so they can reappear in Hamada's new universe. But even Hamada was fucking things up. Even he was trying to recycle the Snyderverse and add pretty colours, like they did with Justice League. And it's the same thing with Gunn's DC universe. As I say, he was always doing Creature Commandos and New Authority. And now he's just stuck it to this new universe and said, this is the plan. This is the new plan. You don't have a plan. You're making shit up as you go along. You don't want to make a Superman movie. You admitted you didn't really want to be stuck making a Superman movie for 2 years. So when you get someone who doesn't really want to be doing something that he's doing, you've got a big, big problem. Will Superman Legacy happen? Most probably, but there's still a small chance all of this stuff could be cancelled. The beauty of shelving Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom for Gunn, because he's the one giving the notes, is if that movie fails, how will Zaslav perceive him? because Zaslav is determined to go with him. But that could be the final straw. Scott Edwards, apparently Affleck was supposed to be in the final battle in Lost Kingdom. Well, this is what happened with Affleck and Keaton. Keaton was in it originally because it's meant to continue after the Flash movie. Then they changed the release date. So then they decided to bring Affleck in. Now, people made assumptions this meant they were going to restore the Snyderverse. I don't know about that. So, yeah, lots of rumors, but this is why they went from Affleck to Keaton. It's an absolute mess. And the biggest mess was bringing back Cavill and then reversing that decision, which has made a lot of people very, very angry. So, eventually I'm going to get to the reason what I wanted to talk about today on this live video. But if you guys have got more things to say, we can still continue, and then I can get to my Apple discussion a little bit later on. So I'm going to talk now. You can still put down stuff. I won't answer your stuff until I've finished talking. Right. I was watching the Critical Drinkers video the other day. It was a live. He mentioned there's a rumor that Apple wants to buy Disney, and he said, well, it's a great idea. You know, Disney have got Star Wars, Lucasfilm, and they've got Marvel Studios. You know, the IPs, Apple would be very interesting. Well, I don't agree with that, Drinker, actually, because what I've seen from Apple is that no sign are they interested in cinematic universes and IPs. In fact, it's the very opposite. They've been putting director-driven content out. And the best place for director-driven content is Warner Brothers, because that's what they used to do. I believe next year, Apple will purchase Warner Brothers Discovery. I really do feel that. I think the potential is there. I think Zaslav will sell this company. That's the idea, to get this company ready for a sale, because AT&T ran it into the ground. AT&T is still the majority shareholders of Warner Brothers, by the way, Warner Brothers Discovery. Zaslav's in charge, but Discovery don't have many shares. It's actually still pretty much an AT&T company, as they have a majority stock holding. So it's a very, very weird situation. They brought in Zaslav as a troubleshooter and gave Discovery some shares because they ran the studio into the ground. They brought basically AT&T, who had no clue about scripted entertainment, brought in Zaslav, who also had no clue or experience on scripted entertainment. Make it make sense. DC Superman, yo Mick, what's going on, legend? Thank you very much. Yes, I'm doing okay. It's a bit hot and muggy and dull out here in Cyprus, but I wanted to do a live. I didn't want to upload a video today. I didn't want my internet to be sucked up all day. I want to watch some English Premier League football later on. So yeah, I can't do that if I can't stream. So this is why I came in early to do a live. And we're talking about Apple potentially purchasing Warner Brothers Discovery next year. And by the way, if Apple were to purchase Warner Brothers Discovery, I believe it would be the beginning of a golden age for Warner Brothers, because Apple do seem to know what they would do, what they're doing. Their streaming service is brilliant. They've spent so much money on quality entertainment. And if they can bring that kind of mentality of director-driven content to Warner Brothers, which is what Warner Brothers used to be and what it should continue to be, and hopefully they can reset the balance with DC as well. I don't think there's any foundations to the DC Universe idea. And they should allow Gunn to do his things, make his stuff, that's fine. But he's no CEO. It's not working. It is not going to work. All he's done is caused upset, frustration, and confusion. That's not me just saying that. That's how fans feel. Even the ones supporting him can't even work out what the hell is going on. And I do believe we are coming to a golden age of Hollywood. And I think that Oppenheimer is the beginning of that. The excitement for that film, it's nearly crept up to $1 billion. There's money in director-driven content. It is the future. It's what we used to have, and it's what we need to have again. And as I said, and I'll say again and again, and put bumper stickers on it, the era of the IP and the adaptions and the cinematic universe is dead. James a crap, and fans hate his Suicide Squad movie. Well, I don't hate his Suicide Squad movie. I quite like it. I think it's okay. As I say, put him in a little corner to make his he should not be making a Superman film. He's the wrong guy to make a Superman film. Not a cinematic universe, but his Suicide Squad universe and everything he's planning with the Authority sounds very, very exciting. Let him have his own little corner. That's fine. We don't need a cinematic universe. We just need creatives to do their own thing in their little corners. I'm quite happy for James Gunn to continue to make DC content, but he's not. He's no CEO. He's a writer-director, and pretty much the last person that Zaslav went to offer this opportunity to. And yeah, from what I can see from Gunn, all I'm seeing so far is talk. I've seen very little else. And it's going to be very interesting when these strikes are over, what happens to this so-called DC universe. We saw how Superman Returns, Superman Man of Steel, the Superman Returns sequel was greenlit before the writer's strike all those years ago in 2008. And then by the time we finished those strikes, there was no Superman Man of Steel. And Bryan Singer's vision was dead. The same thing could happen to Gunn's DC universe. Bat Super, Sam Raimi for Superman trilogy. Well, it's the kind of appointment I would like, Bat Super. An auteur that gets to do whatever he wants. You know, many years ago, we were going to get a trilogy from somebody else, and I forgot his name. It was going to be a very interesting one. It was set when basically the world imploded and Superman was on the earth on his own or something. I forgot what it was going to be. But yeah, you need an auteur with a trilogy. Basically what Nolan did with the Dark Knight trilogy. He had a vision, it worked, people gobbled it up. Auteurs, director-driven content, whether it's a superhero junior universe, or whether it's a normal film that's not an adaptation, people are hungry for director-driven content. That's what people want to see. Even Barbie is director-driven. That's insane, right? Yeah, it's extremist, it's a feminist movie. I wouldn't go and see it. But an auteur directed Barbie. That's why, at the very least, it works as a piece of entertainment. She said she doesn't want to do anymore. She's made one. That's enough. Goodbye. This is what we want. Director-driven content. Cinematic universes must die. There's no money in them. Look at the Marvel Cinematic Universe. All their plans. What are they going to do? There's no interest in the Marvel Cinematic Universe anymore. Look at Secret Invasion. It flopped. Years ago, people would have gobbled that shit up, no matter how bad it was. But people have had enough. When are Hollywood going to understand that enough is enough? And I think this is the real reason they're not negotiating with SAG-AFTRA and the WGA. They're trying to drive away a lot of these woke writers so they can bring in more talented people. And the longer you leave it, a lot of these people will have to quit. Scott Edwards, can I send you an Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom article to read? I do not have any access to Twitter while I'm on here, my friend, so I can't read it. So I can't, I literally can't read it. But you can tell me what it's about. If you tell me what it's about, why don't you write on your messages? Don't write the whole article, but write what they're saying about it in general, and then I'll give you my opinion. That might be a better thing to do, if you can be bothered. Entirely up to you, but I do want to keep this conversation going. I do want to respond. Scott Edwards, it has spoilers in it. It doesn't matter. Just put it up. It doesn't matter. Don't worry about it. Just, you know, we're probably not going to see the film anyway. I mean, I know the spoilers anyway. There's only you and James in here. I think Bat Super's here. I don't know who's here, but basically we don't have a lot of viewers. That's what I'm saying. You know, the lives are not really worth it, Scott. And people keep on asking me to do lives and no one's here. And, you know, I know that people live around the world and it's difficult. People in the States mostly are asleep. Now, I don't know what you're doing up, Scott. It must be late at night or early in the morning where you are. I mean, it's 5 to 2 here in Cyprus. So it must be pretty late where you are or pretty early. Anyway, But I live in Cyprus. I can't make videos. I mean, when would I do a video that suits the American audience? I mean, I don't even know the bloody times. It's very, very difficult. And I don't have the viewers to do lives. I like doing lives. I don't mind doing them now and again, but I never know if anyone's going to come in and watch them. That's the problem. And this is why I'd rather do my pre-recorded videos, because my pre-recorded videos get from around 50 to 70 views, which isn't a lot, but it's better, they're concise, and they work for my platform. James and Crab, I hope you and Aaron Fisher don't get into argument. James, I don't know what it is with you, but you seem to like trouble. And you seem to like going from one content creator to the other, saying, this person said this about you. Then coming to tell the other content creator, oh, this person said this, or this person did this. I haven't got any arguments with Aaron Fisher. I made one comment about him. I like his content, by the way. Now, I bet you don't go and tell him that. I watch his channel. It's pretty good, and I agree with mostly what he's saying. But I think you're one of these people, if someone says something bad about someone, you run to the other person. I think you're a bit of a stirrer, and I'm not interested. There's never been any argument, as far as I'm concerned, between me and Aaron. But it doesn't help when people who watch platforms go from place to place saying, ooh, that person said that about you. Because ultimately, it's shit stirring, and I'm not interested. I'm here to tell you my opinion and react to your opinion. I'm not here to talk about other content creators. I've had opinions on content creators before, and I spoke my mind about them, but I'm not here. I'm not interested. Because I'm not interested in becoming ultra successful, and if it happens, it's going to happen automatically on its own. I'm not here to stir the shit, to have YouTube wars. But basically, James, you're just the type of guy, if I say something, you're going to go back and say something. Oh, Sam Dejan Reviews put your video of, dancing in your boxer shorts. So what? I knew when I danced in my boxers, when I danced in my underwear, people would take the piss out of me, but I was having a laugh on a video. So what? It was fun. It was harmless. It doesn't matter. So where am I now? Scott Edwards, they say Black Manta gets possessed by the spirit of an ancient king and needs royal blood. Right, I'm not going to confirm or deny this stuff, but Black Manta does have a big role, Scott, in the film. And yes, I liked what they did with Black Manta. They brought on the character from the first film, which I thought that's what you do. But the film really is about, is it Patrick Wilson? Patrick Wilson's Orm and Jason Momoa's Arthur. It really is a road trip, a kind of bro road trip movie, because they have to do something. But there's a lot of kind of environmental themes, because that's why Jason wanted to write the film. But they didn't let Jason do half of what he wanted to do, and Jason's already stated that publicly. So there's a lot of environmental commentary, but it really is a road movie between Orm and Aquaman. And so it's not the same movie as the first one. Now, I saw a version I kind of enjoyed. A lot of people have seen versions that they didn't enjoy. So I don't really know. I do know there's been so many test screenings. They've changed the movie on multiple occasions. And that's the problem. Because what happens these days is they make a film, then they go on Twitter. Oh, no, let's change it. And they change it again. Oh, no, Twitter said something, they're not going to like that. Let's change it again. You can't make films on that premise. You've got to make your film and stand by it. That's why the best people are auteurs. That's why I'm talking about director-driven content. Because an auteur like Snyder doesn't care what Twitter says. He's going to do his thing. He's going to present it. Either you like it or you don't. That's what films used to be. But we got into this cinema score bullshit. This RT score, Rotten Tomatoes score bullshit. And Rotten Tomatoes is just a corrupt metric site that you can't trust. That is full of LA critics talking shit. James and Crap, you're right. I shouldn't have done it. Scott Edwards, you think Mira will have a big role? She hasn't got a huge role from what I saw. But again, they could have changed it. They could have made it bigger. They probably tried to make it smaller. I think from what I saw, she was in 20 minutes of the film. She was pretty badass at times, but she was also not doing very much at the same time. Obviously, she's not central to it like she was the first movie. Her role really is taken over by Orm, and it really is about Orm. Basically, it's pretty much, in terms of the role of Orm and Arthur in this film, they swapped basically Arthur and Mira and put Orm into that situation and where they get to know each other. So Patrick Wilson is a great actor. I thought he was great in the first movie and great from what I saw in the second movie. And I genuinely want people to see this movie. It seems to me outrageous that you would release a piece of shit like Blue Beetle, The Flash, and Shazam Fury of the Gods, but you won't release a movie made by James Wan. Now, I don't know if it's true that they're going to shelve the movie, but whatever they've done to it, they better hope it makes money. And the truth is, this movie isn't going to make money. And now, because of the other releases being flops, they know that this movie will not make money. So it would be wise of them to shelve it. James of Crap, DCEU, please, One Man of Steel BVS as 2016. Scott Edwards, no spoilers, but I guess were you satisfied with Mira's role in the movie? Like she wasn't shortchanged? Well, Walter Hamada tried to remove her from the film, citing chemistry, which was bullshit. It's true, actually, their chemistry was bad, but he wanted to get rid of her because he knew people were going to boycott the film. It didn't work. So then they had to work her within the film in a reduced role, hoping people would come in knowing it was a reduced role. So her presence isn't the same as it was in the first movie. Do they do her justice? I think what you see of her is quite good. This is the problem though. She's in the movie. So whoever's going to boycott the movie because of her presence is still going to boycott the movie, whether she's in it for 20 minutes or 5 seconds. Her public persona has damaged this film as well. Just like Ezra Miller's appearance in the Flash movie in every fucking scene damaged that movie because people boycotted that movie. One of the major reasons that film flopped. But that film also has a lot of creative problems because too many people interfered with it. That sounds familiar, doesn't it? They interfered with Batman versus Superman, the first Suicide Squad, Wonder Woman. They messed with that third act, as we know. They just keep on doing it. It's the same people. And Gunn is representing the people who come up with Justice League and the Flash movie recycling of the Snyderverse. Nothing has changed. They're not giving you a new universe. They're recycling the original DCEU and pretending they're doing something new. Gunn really doesn't have much of a plan. He's stuck on his original plan, what he was going to do in his Suicide Squad universe corner. He's calling it a plan. I think he wrote Superman Legacy too quickly, and that's what worries me as well. Scott Edwards, no spoilers, but I get no. Scott Edwards, is the transition better for Black Manta's Aquaman 2 than Dr. Sivana for Shazam 2, lol? That was unforgivable. Oh, Black Manta and Dr. Sivana. I mean, Dr. Sivana was just put in for gags. No, Black Manta has a proper arc in Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. A very, very good arc. And it's something they wanted to do because we didn't really see much of him in the first film. But he had a pivotal role. But he wasn't the main thing about the first movie. Yes, a Black Manta gets a big thing to do. He has a big role to do. And it's great. And so, yeah, you would be very satisfied with Black Manta. I think they did. I think Black Manta was treated brilliantly in the first film, and I know that I enjoyed kind of what they did with him in the second movie. But let me explain about test screenings. Test screenings are never the finished article. You should never go to a test screening and be disappointed because it doesn't look like a finished movie. It's not meant to be a finished movie. You're there to give them advice, to give them the feelers if they're going in the right direction. So when you hear people saying, oh, it was a crap test screening, it doesn't mean anything. People were saying Blue Beetle and the Flash movie had great test screenings, but they weren't the finished article. They never are. That's why they're called test screenings. Now, I don't agree with test screenings. I think test screenings are a crappy idea. And the sooner they stop them, the better. They don't help you perfect the movie. Make your damn movie. Give an auteur the movie. Give them the reins. Let them do what they want to do instead of this. Let's do another test screening. Let's see if people are going to like it. This lack of confidence in their own ability. James Crap, they ruined BVS, Suicide Squad, JL, and Birds of Prey. Scott Edwards, are you going to watch the Marvels? I'm not going to the cinema to watch the Marvels. It's barely 90 minutes. I'm not interested in that character. I'm not interested in Miss Marvel. I'm not interested. Listen, my interest in the MCU finished along with everybody else's interest in Endgame. If I was running Marvel Studios, if I took over from Kevin Feige after Endgame, I would have started doing director-driven content and standalone movies because you got away with it. You did a great cinematic universe when people were interested in that thing. You should have smelt the coffee and ended the MCU, ended that story, and just did stand-alone movies, bringing auteurs to do Marvel stuff instead of trying to control the narrative. And it hasn't worked. And it hasn't worked since Robert Downey Jr. left. And as I say, that is no accident. Scott Edwards, Skeleton Crew doesn't sound woke to me. Again, I'm not interested. I'm not interested in Disney Plus Star Wars. Listen, I'm quite happy to live with George's 6 movies, The Clone Wars and Rebels. I don't need anything else. But if they are going to do things, you need to do great cinematic movies. Christopher Nolan has shown an interest, but he's never going to work with Disney because they won't give him the freedom. They want to control everything so they can spread their woke message. And that's the problem. The worst thing that happened to Star Wars wasn't just The Last Jedi. It was actually reducing Star Wars to streaming because they thought streaming was the future. And it's not. As I said earlier, there's no money to be made in streaming. You can't make the money in streaming. You can cinematically unless you do pay-per-view. And that's never going to work now. So they've hid Star Wars on streaming. And the content isn't good enough. We want new planets, new characters. We need them to move away from the Skywalker saga, which was dealt with at the end of Return of the Jedi and at the end of Revenge of the Sith. And when you don't go with George's sequel trilogy, you must do the kind of thing that Zach's doing with Rebel Moon. His pitch for Star Wars was genius. It would have been great. Of course, because he's Zack Snyder, people would have gone against it. And I'm glad he didn't do it because Lucasfilm and Kennedy would have done to Zach what WB did to Zach. Because we have been in an era where directors with their own opinions, auteurs, don't get a lot of rope, to do their thing. So, but now I think we're in a new golden age of Hollywood because of Oppenheimer and all these movies like Killers of the Flower Moon and all of this. People are now hungry for director-driven content. I see the reaction to the Venice Film Festival, and there's a lot of excitement now for these interesting, unique movies, not cinematic universes. They killed cinema. They killed creativity, and it's over. Scott Edwards, even with Jude Law in it, well, look what they did with Jude Law in the first film. Yeah, I love Jude. I mean, I was one of the people championing him to being the next Doctor Who, but of course he's straight and white. We can't allow that, can we? But yeah, even with Jude isn't going to drag me to the cinema, mate. Scott Edwards, are you going to watch the Mandoverse movie? I don't even know if that's ever going to happen, my friend. But at this moment, I don't have any interest in Disney Star Wars. I won't watch Toy Story 5. I won't watch any of the shit because they're going to put their politics in it, right? And keep on shitting on my gender. So I'm not interested. I'm not interested in supporting them. Make great entertainment, director-driven content with artistic integrity. That's not what just I want. That's what most people want in entertainment. Entertainment is on its knees because they showered us in streaming. They showered us in IPs, in adaptations and reboots and cinematic universes, and people got bored. James are crap. I kind of like Suicide Squad 2016, but it is not that good. I actually do like the first Suicide Squad, even though it was edited by Pop Music Company, and it wasn't what David wanted. I think there is a skeleton there of an interesting film. It's not the best thing ever. It's not the worst thing ever. I mean, people hate the Masters of the Universe movie, but I went to the cinema and enjoyed it. You can enjoy bad movies or not pinnacle movies. The problem today with cinema scores and Rotten Tomatoes scores and box office measurements by us, the consumer, we forgot to judge a film on our personal enjoyment. And that's the real problem as well. Scott Edwards, how long do you see the strikes going on? You think Superman and Lois might be cancelled because of it? No. I don't think Superman and Lois will be cancelled, but I see these strikes going for a very long time. And if you don't understand the situation, it's quite simple. This is a very, very big divide in terms of SAG-AFTRA and the WGA. It's not just money they want, it's streaming rights. Every time someone rewatches something, they want to get paid for it. So it's very, very complicated because streaming brought in a new normal, but they didn't bring in a new pay structure. So they would gain an advantage on the actors and the writers. So it's very complicated, but artificial intelligence and the debate around that has made things even more complicated. I don't see this being settled until the end of December. I see this going on for a very, very long time. Nobody should think this is simple. And it's not just a case of the studio going, yeah, we'll pay you what you want. No. This is complicated. This is going to take weeks and weeks and maybe months of negotiations. It isn't as simplistic as people are making it look. Scott Edwards, what rating would you give Ahsoka out of 10 so far? Well, I think Rosario is a brilliant actor, and I like her as Ahsoka, but she doesn't feel like Ahsoka. So I say Ashley Eccleston is Ahsoka. I would give it about 5. John, hello, John. There is a rumor that video game voice actors could go on strike. Well, yes, because they're also part of SAG-AFTRA. So, yes, because they've got issues with that as well. So the whole thing is coming up, John, for negotiations. So, yes, all these things are going to happen. So entertainment in general is in a lot of trouble. As we saw, Taylor Swift is making a lot of money because they put her concert, I think, or whatever they're doing in the cinemas, actually made more money than Blue Beetle. Not that that's difficult. James are crap, but I love Man of Steel and BVS, and I kind of like Suicide Squad and Zack Snyder's Justice League is great, but DC's not good enough now. Well, the problem is DC were being compared with the peak of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Zack came in and gave DC and made DC an alternative to Marvel. And everybody was just saying, why can't you be like Marvel? But what Zack was saying, why can't we be different? Why can't we be the alternative? That's what the Snyderverse was, and I think it was the right direction to go. But the problem is, they were making money, they were getting all the love from Access Media, and DC fans wanted that love as well. So people turned on Snyder, the studio turned on Snyder, but the reason it's a mess, James, and I've said this before and I'll say it again, because once Batman versus Superman was so polarizing, they had 2 decisions. Allow him to finish what he started, right? Maybe only do 2 Justice League movies or 1 very long Justice League movie, or be honest with the public. Do a public press release with Zack and the studio and say, listen, we have creative differences, which they did. Just be honest about it. We can't go along on this journey. So now Joss Whedon and Jeff Johns will take over DC Films, and they will start from the beginning and go on their own journey. And I'm convinced that Jeff Johns and Joss Whedon could have done very special, but recycling Zack's film and making Justice League was wrong. So they just went down the wrong direction. And ever since Justice League, they've been going down this ridiculous direction of trying to recycle Snyder's vision into something colourful, funny, bright, quick and easy. It hasn't worked because they should have just started again or let Zack finish what he started. They made the wrong decisions. Scott Edwards, Bo-Katan deserves her own series. John, Zack Snyder said he would like to do a Gears of War movie. your thoughts. Well, I'm not very familiar with computer games and stuff, but I think that Zack Snyder, the way he shoots things beautifully, he would have studied that game. And yeah, I'd love to see that. Even though I'm not a gamer, see that. That would be great. Anything Zack wants to do, but I'm very excited about Rebel Moon. I hope it's successful for him. But I do think that Netflix have got a big decision to make. Apple made a big turnaround in deciding to give Killer of the Flower or Killers of the Flower Moon a full release schedule cinematically. And I think this is what Netflix have to do. The future is cinema. And all streaming's going to be in the future is a catch-up service. That's it. And as we can see now, cable ratings are going up while streaming numbers are going down. Streaming isn't the future. And we need to go back to the general older ways of doing things, because that's where the money is and that's where people can have access and consume this stuff. And the changes they've attempted to make simply haven't worked. And streaming, they've invested so much money in streaming, WB, Disney, all these big companies, hasn't worked, and they're on their knees because of it. Scott Edwards, I meant Jude Law is in Skeleton Crew. Oh, right, yes, still don't care. I'm sad that Jude's become a Disney man. I get put off anyone who starts working with Disney. Scott Edwards, he's the lead. Well, no, he won't be the lead, Scott. They'll bait and switch him. And some female or some minority will really be saying, hey, white man, you're a bad person. Like they always do. Boring, put the kettle on. John, is Rebel Moon being released in cinemas? Limited releases, very, very limited cinema releases, but I think it should be a general release movie. Zack Snyder is cinema, not television, so release it on a general release. It will make money, then put it on your streaming service. That's the future. Cinemas first, then your streaming platforms. That's what I want to see. That's what excites me. James a crap. No. That's right. It's not on general release, but it should be. That's what the future is now. Cinema is the future, not streaming. Cinemas first, streaming second. Like the old days, we used to watch something in the cinema, and then a couple of years later, it used to be on TV for the network premiere. Kind of like that. Put it in cinemas, then if you did it as a streamer, if you've made a film, general release, then on your streaming service, it works on Sky, doesn't it? Saints in the cinema, a year or so later, it's on their movie channels. That's what the future has to be. In terms of Apple, Apple already doing it with Killers of the Flower Moon. Great decision. They're getting into cinema. They will buy WB or Disney. I want them to buy WB because I like what they're doing. They're making real director-driven content with, artistic integrity. And that's exactly what we want. And you see something with Nolan and Universal and Oppenheimer. Nobody thought that Oppenheimer could nearly gross $1 billion. It's killing it in China as well. It would be amazing if we could see a $1 billion box office. Probably won't happen, but its box office is tremendous. It's not too far away from Barbie either. Not that I believe that the Barbie estimates are actually accurate. I think they're actually lying about the Barbie box office. Scott Edwards, you think we'll see Mando, Bo-Katan and Luke in Ahsoka? I'm sure of it, yes. John, do you think Joker 2 will release a trailer this year? Let me read that again, because I nearly gave the answer before finishing the question. I do that because I get excited. John, do you think Joker 2 will release a trailer this year? Yes, I've been told that this October, from about the end of September, mid-September, October, they're going to release a trailer because I think it's released next October. So they want to release the first trailer in conjunction with it being a year away. So I do expect a teaser trailer for Joker Folie à Deux. Be excited for that movie. I spoke all about that movie. I think it was yesterday. I think on yesterday's video. I did have a friend who was a runner on that film. And I know a hell of a lot about that film. And yeah. That film is going to kick ass. The music, the dancing, the story, they actually do a great job of the romance between Harley and the Joker. What I like about Lady Gaga's Harley Quinn. From what I'm hearing, she's not some woke, perfect woman who's being manipulated by a man. It's actually the other way round. Harley Quinn is a psychopath, not a feminist, not an anti-hero. And it's important to remember that. And I think Todd Phillips has absolutely remembered that. Scott Edwards, Skeleton Creek's part of Mandoverse, but not sure how it will connect. Nor do I. Luckily, they've got a Skeleton Creek key, haven't they? So it's going to connect. Get it? See what I did there? John, did you see the Wonka trailer? I did, and it looks okay. We'll see what kind of film that is. I think what Tim Burton did with Wonka was great. Let's see what they do with it. But yeah, I'm always happy to see good family movies for the family with no shitty messaging. Make movies that people can go together. The best movies to make, right? Let's talk about this, right? They talk about making movies for gay people and minorities. Well, gay people and minorities all went out to watch Star Wars: A New Hope. They went out to watch Superman the movie, even though they didn't see themselves in the movie. That's the natural order of things. You don't have to make... Look, if you want to make gay movies, make gay movies. I'm not saying don't make them. But you can't expect a movie about minorities and the LGBTQ community to bring in the kind of bacon that the natural order of things do, like the mainstream movies do. Let me put it politely that way. So you can make those movies, but they're not going to have the interest, like Top Gun Maverick, starring a straight white male, good looking, flying a plane, training some lads, right? Everyone went to see that. That tells you that what they're attempting to do isn't going to work, and they need to go back to the natural order of things. Scott Edwards, are you excited to see Thrawn as the big bad of the Mandoverse? Think he'll be the villain in the movie? I think he is the villain in the movie. I think, look, it's the same actors. That is exciting. But as I said to you earlier, Scott, I don't think there was any need to translate animated Filoni's Star Wars into live action Filoni's Star Wars. It's just not the same. It works in animation, but you don't need to repeat yourself in live action. You need to think outside the box. That's why George did the prequels the way he did. He made something totally different, and he built out his Star Wars universe, and he introduced a new generation of children. This is why Jake Lloyd was introduced in The Phantom Menace. It worked. The kids loved seeing Anakin in the pod race. It worked. When I was in the cinema, kids loved Jar Jar Binks. The adults hated him, but the kids loved him. That's why George made The Phantom Menace the way he did, to introduce a new generation. Do you realise how much the merch sold, how much merch they sold for The Phantom Menace? A film apparently some old dudes reckon is crap. I worked in a toy shop. We couldn't restock the shelves fast enough. So that tells you everything you need to know. James of Crap, I love Roald Dahl, but they ruined his books. John, do you believe the rumours that the Batman 2 starts filming in March 2024? Well, you should understand that question. You've got the answer to that question. We are now in a SAG-AFTRA strike. So how can anything start anytime? And how can there be a date for that film when actors can't shoot anything? They can't even let alone promote movies. So John, you know the answer to that question. There's an actors union strike. So no, that's not an accurate date. Now maybe that is a tentative date for maybe, hopefully, just in case the strikes finish. But right now there can be no official dates because the actors are on damn strike. So it's a bit weird for people like We've Got This Covered, whoever came out with that, because they know there's a strike. They're coming up with news, I see on Twitter, that doesn't make any sense. There's nothing in development. No one's being cast for anything because there is no one working at the moment. They're all on strike. So nothing can start shooting. I'm sure that was the original plan, John. But there can be nothing official when there's a strike going on. So, it's amazing to me what some of these sites try and pull sometimes just to get the clicks. I didn't click onto that because they're on strike. So we'll see. It's very weird to be a fan of entertainment right now because everything's stopped. Scott Edwards, Superman and Lois season 3 was bad. No, it wasn't. It was great. You're just biased because it's nothing to do with Arrowverse. That's all. But Scott, it's a great series and it works. The only thing I don't like about it now is that they changed the actor who played John, and we'll never know the truth of his exit. But the character no longer works for me because they changed actor. And that's very, very sad. Whether he genuinely had mental health problems or if that was just something they came out with and got him to say, I don't know. And of course, if he has got mental health problems, I understand him walking back from it. But he didn't seem to get much, if any, support from his castmates on social media, which was very, very sad. I think the guy who plays his brother even unfollowed him. Welcome to Hollywood. James are crap. They should reboot the MCU. I agree. Scott Edwards. Why not sell it on Earth Prime? Because, Scott, they don't want anything to do with Arrowverse. Arrowverse is a tainted franchise. Haven't you had enough? You lot keep on acting. We want Legends of Tomorrow back, blah, blah, blah. But you had 8 seasons of Arrow. You had 9 seasons of The Flash, 4 seasons of Legends. You had more than Smallville did. What is the problem with Superman and Lois doing their own thing? Why does everything have to be connected? It doesn't even work. That's why I keep on saying. The cinematic universe, this shared universe thing, it's gone. There's no money in it. And that's why. John, what did you think of Doomsday in Superman and Lois? Wonderful. Brilliant. Looked absolutely fantastic, as he did in the Krypton TV series. But I like Zack Snyder's Doomsday as well. Looks a bit different, but yeah, things can be different. Canon can be changed. It's okay. James are crap, and we only had 4 Snyderverse movies. Well, Zack Snyder basically made Man of Steel, directed Man of Steel, directed Batman vs. Superman Dawn of Justice, directed Zack Snyder's Justice League, and he co-wrote the story of Wonder Woman as well. Basically co-wrote Wonder Woman, and he ghost-directed a lot of that movie. So, yeah, he was involved in 4 Snyderverse movies. But that's still a lot of films. I'm still happy with that. It's just a shame we didn't see the conclusion of the story. But I'm still happy with what we got. I can live with what we got. But the way that they treated him, the way they used the death of his daughter, which was disgusting, to mask his exit, it was all in bad taste. But this is, it's a talk. Listen, what everyone's got to understand, whether you love films, you love this creator or that actor or whatever, it's a toxic industry. And actors and directors and the people who work for them are treated like bitches. They're treated like slaves. That's why they don't want to pay them. And I've said this about the industry even when things seem to have been hunky-dory. Because I've been there. I grew up in this industry because of my dad. So I get it. I'm not famous. I'm not popular. But I grew up around the industry. I know a lot of people who work in that industry. I don't say I know this one and that one because a lot of those people are my friends. And I don't want my friends to think I'm using their names to build myself up. I think that's pathetic when people do it. But I did see things while I was growing up. Some very bad things, some very good things. It's a very toxic industry and they don't like outsiders either. Scott Edwards, Flash season 9 was a joke. Yes, it was bad. But it had been getting from bad to worse ever since season 3. And it was getting worse. Team Arrow, no, Team Flash, Team Flash, Team Flash, Team this, Team Bathroom, Team this, Team that. It was ridiculous. I never forget the Cisco remark when there was the crossover with Superman. Kara, my favourite Kryptonian. Hint, hint, she's a woman, not a straight white male. That's why she's got to be better. That's why she's got to be my favourite Kryptonian. And we're going to hammer you over the fucking head that Kara is Cisco's favourite fucking Kryptonian. That is what entertainment has become. That is what California, LA and Hollywood is all about. They're so obsessed with their extreme left politics. It's all they fucking talk about. That's why it's all they write about. The journalists and the creatives. So yes, Flash Season 9 was a joke. Absolutely. But I do believe WB will be bought by Apple. It can't happen legally this year, but at some point next year, it's going to happen. I'd be very disappointed if Apple bought Disney. I don't see the potential in that with what Apple want to do. But I think Warner Brothers, for me, if that was bought by Apple, because Apple, what they're doing is amazing. They're making proper entertainment. And with Martin Scorsese, with big people, Disney are not doing that. Disney are not working with real people. They just bring in people, tell them what to do, so their woke narrative can be pushed. And there's no entertainment in that. They fucked up Pixar. They have to bring back John Lasseter to Pixar. John Lasseter didn't do nothing wrong apart from hugging people too much. That's it. That's why they Me Too'd him. He wasn't pinching anyone's backside. He wasn't forcing himself on anyone. John Lasseter is a good man and a genius. He took what Lucas invented with the Pixar technology and he made a whole studio out of it. And they Me Too'd a nice man. Very nice man, John is. Very nice man. Very nice family. Very nice people at Pixar when he was running it. Very family-based, creative, fun environment. And these bastards destroyed him because they had to keep on Me Too'ing people. John Lasseter built Pixar. He's the reason we had all those great Pixar animated movies. John Lasseter must return to Pixar. It's his company. And it's fucked ever since he left. The MCU's been fucked ever since Robert Downey Jr. left. Put the dots together. Could it be that it's Robert Downey Jr. that made Marvel so great and not Kevin Feige? And Kevin Feige was just riding on the coattails of Robert Downey Jr. Robert Downey Jr. was the one who decided he didn't want to work with the guy who played Rhodey in the first film, Trevor Howard. So they brought in somebody else. That was Robert Downey Jr. Robert Downey Jr. got that guy fired because they didn't get on. So there's proof that he was making a lot of fucking decisions. So think about it. Once he left, the MCU tanked. Maybe Kevin Feige isn't the genius we all thought he was. Think about that. Scott Edwards, I'm entertained by Mandoverse. That's good. But what's great about life, Scott, is that everyone can have different opinions. Some people can like one thing and hate the other. Anyone else in the Christmas mood yet? I've started listening to Christmas music and watching Christmas films. Exactly what I'm going to do when I come off this video. Bit crazy, right? But I normally get into Christmas this time of year. I don't know why. I think it's because the temperature starts to fall. I start feeling a bit cozy in the evening. I do love Christmas. I do love it. I'm a 50-year-old guy. Loves Christmas and dances in his boxer shorts. I'm not embarrassed. It's fine. Some idiot put in that video. I think that's funny. I think that's hilarious. I mean, how many subscribers has Sam Dejan even got? How many people watch his channel? Is he a good talker? Does he do good videos? Is he better than me? I mean, I'll be honest with you. Today, I'm doing this live. My stomach is killing me. I feel like shit. I'm probably not making a good live. But I wanted, you know me, I always like to do a daily piece of content. I want you to know I'm about. I want to update you. And I like to connect with you guys. So, yeah. And I'd love to do more lives if there's an audience for it. But as you can see, I've had what? With the people who are not here anymore, I've had about 5 or 6 views. That's why it's not really worth it. I mean, if I do it in the evening, but I've got a really bad light bulb up here at the moment, so in the evening, it's not going to work. I need to put a brighter light bulb if I'm going to do evening lives. Oh, you're not going to be able to see me. We'll be going, where's Mick? Where's Mick? Maybe it's better if you can't see me, just hear my voice. But yeah, but there's not really, as I say, even on a good night, I get about 15 views on a live, maybe 20. It isn't really worth it until my channel, and it may never happen, becomes successful. That's okay. I'm happy with the level of footfall that comes into my channel. It's not much at all. I'm happy with my 70 views on my pre-recorded videos every day. I'm happy with that. I'm not making any money, but it's fine. I get to say my piece. The point of this is for me to say what I want to say. It's not for money, not for popularity. It's not to be famous. James a crap. No, he just goes after YouTuber channels. Yeah, but does anyone watch it? Does anyone watch it? Does he get 50K? What does he get? What is the point of that? What does it, you know what he does? He attacks people who don't agree with him. He attacks people who like Zack Snyder. I mean, it's really, really funny that he put me up in my boxes. I mean, he really had to go through my content to do that, because my content's not in any order. It's not under this or that. And that was really early. That was, what was I used to call? I used to be called Big Mouth. That's when I was called Big Mouth. So that guy is really motivated to find me and try to say, look at this guy, he's dancing in his boxes. So what? So what? It's fun. I liked it. I wonder if I had hair. I think I even had hair then. Listen, those of us who put content up, we put ourselves out there, and we've got to be prepared for hatred and for people to say, oh, you said that once, but that didn't happen and that wasn't true. That's fine. I've said to you before. If I have an opinion, but it happens, to turn out that that's not the way things turn out, it's fine. When you do this, you're going to say something that turns out to be wrong, but never misleading, not with me. So I'm happy for someone to say, well, you said that a long time ago, you were wrong. Yeah, I was wrong. It's fine. I never said I'm always right. So people really, they don't care what people do. Anything I put on social media, I'm happy with. So if a woman's asked to see my WhatsApp and Sam Dejan puts it on YouTube, right? It's fine. Nothing to be ashamed of. I'm an alpha male. I do what I do. People don't like it, that's fine. But I promise you, there's people out there who do like what I do. Not many. I like what I do. And I'm fine with it. It's cool. But he only does that to people he doesn't agree with. That's a very tiny mind. That's a very tiny mind. Because this is what happens when certain people don't agree with you. They make fun of your spelling. They make fun of me for being dyslexic and not doing the sentences properly and full stops and commas and all that and misspelling stuff. They find out I'm from Cyprus and they start trying to say shitty things about Cyprus, or they say nobody watches my YouTube channel, which I agree with. Nobody watches my YouTube channel. It's okay. But instead of having a constructive conversation where you have a difference of opinion, mentally they can't cope with someone not agreeing with them, so they create a war out of it. And it's a very tiny mind. And it's very, very sad. Because Sam Dejan reviews, and I knew this from an early stage, when I was predicting that Ava DuVernay would never get to do New Gods, what happened, I was right. Every video, I saw it in the comments at the bottom. No, you're wrong. Anything I spoke about, no, you're wrong. No, you're wrong. He just used to go to the opposite. So he's just the troublemaker. He's a troubled young man, and we should just let him do whatever he wants. Let him have his little, channel and try and expose people. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't make any difference to me. I still live in a big mansion. I smoke loads of cigarettes, drink beers, drink cola, drink Pepsi, eat food, shag the most beautiful women in Cyprus, go clubbing in Ayia Napa. And Sam Dejan reviews hating on me on his little, irrelevant little platform. Doesn't really matter. I'm still going to get up in the morning and enjoy my life. Don't let people's opinions and people's actions on you, about you, affect your life. There's always going to be one little Stan who gets upset with you because you don't agree with what they think. And you've got to be strong enough to ignore that. What has he found? What has he actually achieved by doing that? By trying to, shit talk other YouTubers, not just me. Just proves that there's something wrong there. It's very, very sad. Just have an opinion. You've started a YouTube channel. Sit in front of a camera like I'm doing, like Campia does, like Randolph does, like Boba talks, like Chris Swan-Svensson does, and say something. Say something intelligent. Show people who you are. Show people what you think. But shit-talking people and trying to expose them, where does that get you? Nowhere. In the end, it doesn't make the people you're attempting to expose look bad. It actually makes you look bad. Say something about who you are. Be intelligent. But no, leave him there. Because Zack Snyder's movies in the DC universe were fucking brilliant, and whether Sam Dejan reviews likes that or not it doesn't really matter. And putting me in my boxes doesn't change what I'm saying, because I will never change what I'm saying. So guys, I'm happy to take a few more comments, but I will be signing off for today and back tomorrow, either with a pre-recorded video if I get up nice and early, or another live. But yeah, as you can see, the lives are not very popular. 4 people in, probably not even subscribers, probably 2 subscribers, 3 likes. As I said it when I first came in, when people say, why don't you do more lives? That's why I don't do more lives. I don't have the platform. And that's sad, but that's my fault. I don't pay to, there you go, 1 viewer now. There you go, it's not worth it. I'm just proving my point. I don't want to pay to promote the channel. I don't need the channel to be super popular and make me money. I don't need, if that could happen, that would be great. But it's always going to be me doing videos, which I don't edit. I say my bit for half an hour every day in a pre-recorded video. I upload it. It goes up there for whoever wants to watch it. Whoever doesn't want to watch it, that's fine. That's as far as I'm going to go. I'm never, ever going to spend money on this. So if people want to come in and watch me, I have a lot to say about entertainment. I grew up around the industry. I know a lot. If people want to take advantage of that, ask me some questions, that's fine. But if they don't, and they'd rather see someone slick who doesn't know anything about what they're talking about and they're just trying to stir it and have some, clickbait title, that's more for you. Personally, as a consumer and a passionate lover of entertainment, I'd rather, consume someone who understands what they're talking about and not troublemakers looking to, spin the narrative all the time. James are crap, but do more lives. No, James, literally, I don't know if you don't understand English or you've listened to what I've said. I'm not going to do more lives, James. Look at the viewers. It is not worth it. Now, it's up to you if you keep on consuming the content, but it's going to be pre-recorded videos because nobody damn well watches the lives. James, I will get Aaron, 4K, and Strong, and Flicks. You talk, and people don't listen. I mean, look, he can see himself. There's one person watching this channel. It's probably him. So it's not worth it. So unless anyone's got anything constructive to say, I'm going to sign off for today. So we don't really have any headlines, but the main point I was making, which I really didn't make for too long, is that I can see Apple buying Warner Brothers Discovery, and I believe it will be the beginning of a golden age for Warner Brothers, because David Zaslav is no good for Warner Brothers, and he has to go. AT&T have been no good for Warner Brothers, so Apple need to come in. They need to buy out AT&T and Discovery and start a new, bold, exciting future. James and Crap, good live stream. Thank you very much. So this has been Movies TV Mad. I'm Mick, your host with the most. Just ask your girlfriends and your wives. Like, share, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you never miss this beautiful perfection. Don't forget, Movies TV Mad on Twitter. Give us a follow. Lots of fun on there. Retweets, I comment on stuff. It's a lot of fun. I'm there throughout the day. There's a video posted on this channel daily about entertainment, mostly about DC, but I don't want this just to be a channel about DC. I also want to talk about entertainment generally, and that's what I plan to do. So until I see you again, have a very nice Sunday, and I will see you again tomorrow. Thanks for coming in.